Hello and welcome to another Sprues and Brews unboxing. Today we are looking at a couple of new releases for Adeptus Titanicus, the Traitor Legios supplement and the Warmaster Iconoclast Titan. So first of all, massive thanks to Games Workshop for sending us these a little bit early to have a bit of a review and a look at with you guys. Big fan of Adeptus Titanicus. We had the Loyalist Legios book come out earlier in the year, which is ace as I play Legio Ignatum. But I had a bit of a craving to do a Legio Mortis force ever since the Siege of Terror book Mortis was released a couple of months ago. And yeah, I've been really looking forward to seeing this coming out. And with this, really, that is the rules for all the Titan Legions in the game. So it is interesting to see where they go with this next. Also, alongside this book and up for pre-order today is the Warmaster Iconoclast Titan. So this is the close combat variant of the Warmaster. And yeah, there's nothing more terrifying than an absolutely massive Titan punching you in the face. So what we're going to have a look at is both of these, look at the sprues of the new Warmaster, and we'll go through the contents of Traitor Legios just to see what's in there. I have written a companion piece over on the website, so if you head over to spruesandbrews.com, I have got a full write-up where I'll go into some detail on what all the various Traitor Legios do. I'll look at the corrupted Titan rules and all that sort of stuff. But of course we'll have a look at it here, so yeah, sit back and enjoy. So first of all, I thought we'd have a quick look at the new Warmaster Iconoclast Titan. So if you've seen the standard Warmaster, this looks to be much the same, just with a different sprue to replace the range weapons with some close combat weapons. It has got a carapace mounted bolter as well, which I believe is just in this kit and not in the variant. So yeah, let's open this up and have a look what we get inside. So yeah, Adeptus Titanicus models have been absolutely amazing. They're pretty much, you know, scaled down versions of the 40k models, and the Warmaster was the first unique Titan, I guess, after the side Titan to the game. Now inside we get some sprues. There's a lot of armour plates on this thing. That is really cool. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to building this one. I haven't built a Warmaster yet. I do have one that's been awaiting Ignatum colours, but I haven't actually got as far as putting it together. The good thing with Adeptus Titanicus kits is, obviously from the other sprue, all the armour panels are on a single frame. So what you can do is spray these a separate colour to the frames that you're using for the body and the kind of main skeleton of the Titan. Paint that all up in your silvers, weather it down, and then you can basically paint the armour panels on the sprue, clip them off and then add them to the Titan when it's done. So all this so far is the same as the standard Warmaster kit. Again, absolutely massive kit, loads and loads of parts. The really cool thing with these Adeptus Titanicus kits is that they are very posable as well. So as posable as the full-scale 40k Titans, you can do all sorts of stuff. Obviously this is a big heavy Titan, so it's probably going to have a little bit less movement. I have seen some people change some of the positioning of the leg panels in order to get more of a stride on it, as obviously this is a close combat Titan, you might want it reeling up for a bit of a punch. So then we get the unique sprue in this box, and this has all the weapons on there. And yeah, look at that chainsword. Really cool stuff. You get a few variant heads on this one as well, so if for some reason you've got multiple Warmasters in your collection, you'll be able to have them all looking different as well, which is another really nice touch. I know a lot of people have built these Titans without playing the game, just as a nice way of owning a Titan and painting one up. I mean, the game is ace. Definitely try it out. Quite different to other kind of Games Workshop games, and I'd say more with a bit of a narrative drive to it. So yes, that's really cool. What we also get in the box as well are the full rules for the Titan. We've got a base and a transfer sheet. But what we'll do, we'll pop open this and have a look in here. So something Forge World have done with all the Adeptus Titanicus kits is include all the cards and terminals in the box now. Previously, when the game first launched, you could buy kind of heavy cardstock terminals. They were quite nice because they did have punched holes for you to stick your kind of indicators into them. Unfortunately, these ones aren't punched. I know a lot of people have tried magnetising them and all sorts of fun things, so you can have your different, you know, reactor levels and stuff movable on there. But have a quick look at the terminal. It is much the same as the standard Warmaster Titan, so 850 points. An absolute terrifying beast. Yeah, very, very nice. I've had a look through. I can't see any differences to the standard Titan. Obviously, the main differences are going to come in from the weaponry. So you also get a sheet of all the various weapon options that you can have here as well. The main thing being that absolutely ridiculous Desolator Chainsword, clocking in at strength 10. Now, using the kinetic transducers, if you move over 5 inches, you can add one to the strength of all melee weapons and do a smash in addition to your standard attack with the charge order. So that is really, really cool. You also get 2 options for the other arm. So you've got the Krios Siege Drill, which is a banana strength 13 3-dice melee weapon. Or if you want an admittedly short range option, you've got the Grav Imploder, which is a quake weapon with a kind of short range of 8 inches. So yeah, really, really cool. I think all the other shoulder weapons are the same as the standard Warmaster. I think the Carapace Gatling Array is unique to this variant. I can't remember what's mounted on the carapace of the standard one. It might be the same one, but something tells me it was something different. So yeah, really cool. And again, they're all included in there with your weapon destroyed side on the other side of it as well. So really good to see that you get all the rules for the Titan included. What we'll do then is have a quick look at the instruction manual. And yeah, it's quite a hefty instruction manual. I think this is going to be one of those kits where you're really going to want to take your time with it and just make sure you've got the pose of it right. Do quite a lot of dry fitting and making sure, you know, all the components are how you want them. Because like I say, it is very, very poseable. And being a big Titan, sometimes you can kind of build them so they look like they're tipping over. On this one, really, with the Warmaster, you're not going to get that much movement in the legs just on the way they go together. But I have seen some put together by the community where they've had to reposition some of the panels and cut them a little bit. But you can get quite a stride on it, which would be cool to see on this guy. So yeah, I'm thinking similar to the other Adeptus Titanicus kits, you probably are better painting all the panels and assembling that to the main structure once it's done as well. Just might make things a little bit easier when you come to painting it. I mean, it is fairly solid, you know, compared to like a Reaver or a Warlord. There's probably less of the skeleton you can see once it's covered with all the panels, but it definitely is going to make it easier than getting your brush in all those little areas. So yeah, but even with the main body being a separate piece, I think as long as you're clever with sub-assemblies, it shouldn't be too hard to build. Now the only thing that might need some magnetisation, obviously the main arms all have kind of like pre-drilled holes for where you can put magnets like with the other Titans. I haven't built one of these yet, so I don't know, but I imagine you will probably be able to magnetise those shoulder weapons to make them a bit more modifiable between battles. That's definitely something I'm going to be playing with. I mean, maybe a magnet onto this piece. It might be harder to swap out the missile launchers than the weapons mounted onto this piece here. I will have a play. I'm going to be building up this Titan over the course of the next week or so as well. So if I find any solutions on how to do that, I'll let you guys know. But yeah, other than that, like I say, you've got the unique weapon arms, but other than that, it's pretty much the same construction as a standard Warmaster Titan. Like I say, it's majority of the sprues are exactly the same. It is really just the weapons that are different. So yeah, absolute beast. I cannot wait to build one. The other thing that is currently out now, I believe this was up for pre-order last week and it is released today, is the Traitor Legios book. So if you've not played Adeptus Titanicus before, a lot of the Legio rules were spread between different supplements previously, and earlier in the year they released the Loyalist supplement that collected together all the Loyalist Titan Legions. plus their associated knight households, plus some other rules for like how to construct your mana pools and the like. And yeah, this does the same for the Traitor Legios. So with this, in theory, all of the various Titan legions are represented in, I guess, the closest you can call to a codex for Adeptus Titanicus. You'll be able to just take your main rulebook, plus this to a game, and have all the things that you need to play. Well, nearly all. There's a few niggly bits that we'll come to going through here, but for most people, this plus the rules will have everything you need to play games of Adeptus Titanicus. If you're commanding one of the Traitor Legios. Let's have a quick flick through. Now, as ever, this is a really, really pretty book. Loads of gorgeous artwork. And lots of information from a lore point of view as well. As we look through it, we'll see that they have kind of expanded out the lore for a lot of these Titan Legions. From in the expansions, there was maybe a paragraph or two, where that is now really kind of padded out with a lot of info. So we start off with rules on how to assemble your battle group, and that does include the conditions of including those special auxiliary Titans, such as the Nemesis, the Iconoclast, and the Warmaster itself. But they have basically just recreated that whole page from the Loyalist book here. Now, I say it has all the rules for constructing your forces. There's one thing that is missing from here, and that is the rules for knight banners. Unfortunately, you've got to have the book that had those rules in. It is a shame that they weren't included here, but apart from that, everything else is here. So if you're doing a Titan based army, as I imagine most people will, you've got all the stuff you need here to recreate that. You also get some special Traitor Titan Legion allegiance ability. This is something that we saw in the Loyalist book as well. The Traitor one's really cool. So once per game during the movement phase, a single Traitor Titan can add 2 inches to their default and boosted speed, and add 1 to the dice of all weapons with the melee trait. So that's really cool. I mean, stick it on the Iconoclast. You make that 8 boosted speed and what, 4 strength 13 dice with that siege drill. Crazy. Really cool. Obviously it's only once per game, and it's only a single Titan, but it could make a massive difference. Again, replicated from the other book, we've got the Questoris Knights, the Mechanicus Knights, all their rules there. We then get a really cool 2-page spread about the Iconoclast in general. It's a bit more bestial and vicious than standard Titans. A lot of them just give in to the machine spirit and go wild and start ransacking other engines that they get near. I kind of envision a Neon Genesis Evangelion style beast mode where the thing just goes berserk and starts ripping enemy Titans limb from limb, which is really cool for a giant skyscraper sized war machine. So yeah, really cool. I really like this, and I kind of hope that in the advent calendar that Black Library does, we get a nice kind of schematic of the Warmaster to stick on the wall. Maybe that's just me. We then get all the mana pools. I'm not going to go through these in any detail on here. On the article on the website, I have put all the details of the requirements and what benefits they give you. But these are exactly replicated from the Loyalist Legio book. So if you've got that book, they are the same mana pools here. The advantage being that they're all compiled in one place, so you don't have to go through a small library to find which mana pool you want to play as, which is really good from a kind of user-friendliness point of view. You've got everything you need in here. There is one traitor-specific mana pool that can only be taken by Legio Audax. They get the Canis-like mana pool, a Warhound-based one with some like scouting shenanigans going on, which is pretty cool. We then go into the Titan Legions themselves. And if you've seen the other book, this is laid out in pretty much the same way. You get a really nice kind of front page with their emblem and some information about, you know, what Forge World they're from, all that kind of stuff. And then you get a couple of pages of lore on them, which is really nice to see. So I know a lot of people will enjoy just reading through this and finding out about these various knight households, which is cool. We then get a spread for each Titan Legion, showing what their Legio traits are, their stratagems that they've got. Any Legio specific war gear upgrades get listed too, along with their Princeps kind of rules as well. After each Titan, you also get a nice spread with the colour scheme of them, Really, really nice to see for working out what colour scheme you want your Legio in. And then an associated knight household as well. They don't all have one, and some of them are a little bit strange in that it kind of calls out a different knight household that isn't necessarily aligned with them. But basically what they've tried to do is pair a knight household that would go well with that Titan Legion if you have the two of them together, which is a nice touch. I quite like that. And again, full artwork for that knight household as well, showing what they look like. So yeah, really cool. So we've got Legio Mortis. They are, I guess, the poster boys for traitorous legions. I'm really tempted to do a Mortis force after reading Mortis. And they look really cool facing off against Legio Ignatum. So I've got to do it, haven't I? So they look really nice scheme on those. And then we get House Morbidia alongside them. Again, really nice glossy red scheme for them. Legio Tritos, the God Breakers. These are pretty cool. Basically, they let you take Warlords in place of Reaver Titans, which is nice. They've also got the option of swapping out Warbringer Titans as well, which is ace. Really cool scheme for them too. House Caesarian are their kind of allied knight household. What you found with the knight households is really the special rules are limited to the Scion kind of chart for rolling off for your lance. They don't have any kind of like special rules that kick in just for being that, because arguably the Unite households play less of a role and more of a support role in games of Adeptus Titanicus. But it's nice to have something themed around your army that would fit from a lore point of view. Tiger Eyes represented. Again, really nice scheme if you like the fire effect on your Titans. And they have House Perdaxia. Again, really cool scheme. If you check out the article over on the website, I've gone into some detail on some of the traits and war gear and stuff that these have access to as well. Not going to cover those in any detail in this video. What we'll probably do is follow up with some kind of faction focus videos where we go into the various traits and upgrades and stuff that are available for them. This is more of a kind of first impression and review of what we've got in here. Legio Vulcanum are really cool. Yeah, I mean these books are really pretty. Just from a lore point and looking at the kind of schemes, I think we're in a good. Anyone new to the game is in a really good position now, where obviously we've got the two different Legio books now, where between them you can decide on, you know, what Titan Legion you want to be playing as, whether it's based down on the lore or the rules or the colour schemes. I will say that Adeptus Titanicus is very much a kind of more lore-based narrative game. Generally speaking, you're going to be playing some like narrative scenarios, so there's less of a need to pick a Titan Legion because it's got good rules per se. I'd always go for what you think looks cool. One of the cool things with the traitors that we'll see in a little bit in this book is that you do have the ability to corrupt your Titans. So obviously as they pledged for the Warmaster, many of the Titans in these Legios kind of gave themselves up to the forces of chaos, got corrupted, mutated, began to house demons, and we do actually get rules for doing that in here, which is really cool. I've got a big box of demon parts from various Games Workshop Greater Demon models that I've been saving for the hope of creating an absolutely horrific corrupted Titan who can march against the Emperor and strike fear into his followers. And yeah, this will give you lots of opportunity to doing conversions and yeah, go into town with something really special. So yeah, it's quite exciting. But yeah, I think you get 16 off the top of my head Traitor Legions in here, and a number of knight households. They don't all get an associated knight household. I think there's about 12 or 13 of them maybe off the top of my head. We've got loads and loads of different options for for what force you want to do and what kind of force that you want to play as well, which is the good thing with this game. If you like certain Titans, some of the households have got ways of swapping out what engines go into what mana pools, really giving you a lot of freedom on taking the engines that you think look cool or are strong. With the number of mana pools that we've got now as well, you have got a lot of options in how you construct your force, so there's no really any issue to picking up some Titans that you think look cool and putting them on the battlefield. I kind of hope that we get a new mana pool box as part of the Christmas deals that Games Workshop normally do over the winter period. The last couple of years, I think there's been, certainly a couple of years ago, there was a Knight box and there was a kind of a Titan mana pool box. And earlier this year, there was a really good mana pool box that had off the top of my head, a Warlord, a Warbringer, a couple of Reavers and a couple of Warhounds, I think, off the top of my head. It was a really good box anyway. So hopefully they do something like that again. And yeah, I really like these kind of artworks of the various engines, and again a load of lore if you want to kind of drink in what the various households and Legios are doing. And then finally Legio Tritonis, the Dark Tide. So like I say, a lot of these are exactly duplicated from previous books in the series. The main advantage of this is that they're all collected together in one book and compiled. But we'll get to the bit now that a lot of people are going to be very, very interested in, and that is Corrupted Titans. So like I said earlier, obviously the Traitor Legios are in thrall of the forces of chaos, and many of them gave up their engines to the dark gods. They've been mutated, they've been corrupted, they've been possessed by entities. And you can choose to, if you want, basically purchase upgrades that represent your Titan being corrupted by the dark gods. Now there's no rules in here to say that you've got to model these on your Titan. It's more, I guess it'd work the same way as your generic kind of upgrades that you can take in the game. But I can see a lot of people maybe going to town and converting these up to represent them. Now there's a couple of downsides to having a corrupted Titan. Well, there's pros and cons, but one of the main things is, rather than the standard Awakened Machine Spirit chart that you'd roll on if you roll the Machine Spirit thingy on a test, you get an Awakened Entity table, and this represents the engine going berserk and the entity that has possessed it enacting its own will. Some of them are really, really good, some of them are really, really bad for you. So we have got Contemptuous. Ends the current action, no effect. Not the end of the world, you lose the action, but at least nothing bad happens to you. We've got Fearful. The Corrupted Titan immediately moves D3 inches straight backwards, adding 1 to the roll for each point of critical damage the Titan has suffered, stopping before it collides with anything. If it moves more than its boosted speed characteristic, which it may do if it suffered a load of critical damage, it suffers D3 strength 8 hits to its legs. They're taking the Titan's front arc and ignore Void Shield. So that's potentially a really bad result. Your Titan basically runs backwards, and if it's really damaged, it could end up taking a load more damage. So you need to watch out on that one. Bullish, basically it goes forwards at its base speed, smashing into anything that's there. Blood Hungry similar, but it goes on a bit of a killing frenzy. So it moves forward a number of inches equal to its base speed, straight forward, within its front arc, before stopping before it collides with anything. If there's no units, friend or foe, within its front arc, it turns 45 degrees towards the nearest enemy unit instead of moving. Yeah. If there's a unit within an inch of it, it makes a smash attack against that unit with a dice value of D3 plus 1. So D3 plus 1 smash attacks onto anything it basically charges towards and starts ripping it apart and eating the various crew from inside it. So that's not a bad one to get, though bear in mind that it could end up hitting your own Titans, which is not great. Destructive is really, really cool. So if it's got a disabled weapon, the weapon is repaired. Basically the warp kind of repairs it and it reforms itself. Otherwise the Titan attacks with the chosen weapon, targeting the nearest visible unit, friend or foe, that it can fire at on a 4+. If there's no units within that, it then does its blood hungry charge forward. So again, could be potentially a bit of a liability. And then finally, Wrathful. The controlling player chooses one of the Titan's weapons that has not been disabled and attacks with it, using a ballistic skill and weapon skill of 4+, following the standard combat sequence. If all the weapons have been disabled, it then does destructive, which obviously will repair a weapon. So yeah, pretty good. Obviously there's some concerns in there. I do like that they get a different chart to represent the more murderous instinct of these Titans. You then get a chart of corrupted personnel traits. So this is for your Princepts. Rather than having their standard one, you can roll on here as well. And again, there's some really, really cool stuff. So being able to roll 2 dice and pick the result they want when it awakens. Distorted form is pretty cool. It basically just gives you a 1+ increase to its movement or manoeuvre characteristic each turn. That's really, really good, especially on those bigger, slower Titans. If you're running the Warmaster Iconoclast, for example, if you give your Princeps that, you've got it going a bit faster. Plus you've got the Traitor Legio trait of going an additional 2 inches once per game as well. Can actually get it moving quite a bit across the battlefield. Beast of Aeons, it can issue an order without the need to make a command check. Pretty cool. Strong of Essence. If the Princeps Titan is destroyed, before rolling on the catastrophic damage table, the player can choose a friendly non-corrupted Titan within 8 inches. The chosen Titan must be of the same class. It is overtaken by the warp and follows all the rules of being a Princeps Signaris. In addition, roll a d6 on a 4+, it retains the strong presence trait. So basically what you can do is when your main Titan's destroyed, it can transfer its essence to another one, and that still counts as your general, and you still get the abilities of the trait. It also gets the same mutation that the base Titan had as well, so that's pretty cool. Exemplar of Fear. Once per round when an enemy Titan's within 12 inches of the Princeps Titan makes a command check, they have to re-roll it. And then Tormentor. When making a targeted attack icon, they get +1 to hit to an area that's not suffered critical damage. Basically, they want to cause as much damage to an enemy Titan as possible, so they get a bonus against undamaged areas. So that's pretty cool. So how do the mutations work? Essentially, your Titan, you pick a single mutation to start with. These cost various number of points depending on what you have. And then once you've got that, you unlock a number of additional kind of secondary mutations as well. You can have, as many of these as you like, but there is a cap based on the scale of the Titan. You always get your base one, and then in addition, a unit scale of 5 or less can have 1, 6 to 8 2, 9 to 10 3, and 11 plus 4. That's on top of your base mutation. So your bigger Titans, you can have quite a lot of upgrades on them. So have a quick look through these now. Preternatural Grace, a Titan can be upgraded with this base mutation for 20 points. Once per round, a Titan with this mutation can declare power to locomotors without pushing its reactor, which is really, really cool. Overwhelming Rage, it can buy it for 15 points. A Titan with this mutation adds 1 to the dice roll value of any weapons with a melee trait. In addition, you can issue it a charge without needing to make a command. So again, we've seen on the Warmaster there's some high dice, high strength weapons. That increases that even more, which is really, really cool. Warp Conduit. Once per game during the combat phase, a Titan with this mutation can conjure an Etheric Tempest. If they do choose a unit within 12 inches, the chosen unit can be a different unit to the one chosen as a target of its weapons, but must be within the front arc and within line of sight. It suffers a single strength 10 hit against a location of your choice, ignoring Void and Ion Shield. So that's pretty cool. It costs 20 points, so quite a pricey one for once per game, but it's ignoring shields makes it quite powerful. Unholy Vigor. So a Titan with this mutation counts as having suffered 1 less point of critical damage on each location for the purposes of determining the effects. In addition, it repairs critical damage on a 4+ rather than a 5+. So that's really cool. Costs you 25 points. Makes your Titan a lot more survivable. We've got Corrupting Power. Costs 20 points. Whenever a unit within 6 inches of one of the more Titans with mutation has to make Void Shield saves, they have to take an additional D3 save. So a really good one to throw forward and kind of hinder the save rolls of your opponent. So really cool. Frozen Soul costs 15 points. During the damage control phase, they can roll an additional 2 repair dice. They can only be used on event plasma repair actions. So again, nice one for getting your Titans running again. An Etheric Conduit costs 10 points. Subtract 1 from the result of all command checks made by units within 6 inches. Corrupted Titans are not affected. So nice mix. And they're just the base ones that you can take on any Titan. And then, like I say, based on the scale of the Titan, you can then take additional mutations on top of those. So you've got Writhing Carapace, costs 15 points. Once per turn at the start of the strategy phase, a Titan with a mutation can replace their Carapace weapon for a different Carapace weapon their Titan class has access to that costs equal or less points than the starting one. Counts as their activation for the phase. It doesn't count as an order, and it'll even be used if the strategy phase ends early. So really, really cool. Basically, they become 40k obliterators, and the weapon on your carapace mutates into a different weapon you can take. Really cool. If you take the most expensive carapace weapon you can take, give it that upgrade, during the game you can swap it out at will for any other carapace weapon that you've got access to, giving you a whole load of utility. I think that's a really, really cool upgrade. 15 points, I'd probably take it. Demonic Bile costs 15 points. Once per round during the combat phase, a Titan with a mutation can spew demonic bile. It counts as an additional weapon and follows the rules for attacking as normal. So then, yeah, basically it's a close combat weapon, dice value of D3, strength 5 and firestorm and fusion. So yeah, pretty nice. Demonic Ichor, a corrupted Titan can be upgraded with it for 10 points. When it suffers catastrophic damage, add 2 to the scale when resolving a magazine detonation or a catastrophic meltdown. So basically, if you want your Titan to explode in a massive fiery mushroom cloud of demonic fury, upgrade that and yeah, your big Titan's going to go boom. Chitinous Carapace, you can upgrade it for 20 points. When it's hit in the body or carapace by an attack, subtract 2 from the armour roll. It cannot declare power to locomotor, so basically you're trading your mobility for being a bit more resilient, which is pretty cool. Empyrean Shroud, it costs you 20 points. Subtract 1 from the result of any hit roll for attacks made against a Titan with their mutation. If the attacking Titan is within inches equal to the scale, it has no effect. So basically, obviously your big Titans, your enemy needs to be closer away for them to get that -1 to hit. Again, pretty good though for a flat -1 to hit on your Titans. Preternatural Regeneration, it costs 50 points, but during the damage control phase, a Titan with the mutation rolls an additional 2 repair dice when making a repair roll. Really, really good, again for getting your Titans up and running. It is a bit on the pricey side, but stick it on those big Titans and they're going to really struggle to take them down. Organic Protrusions, so you can upgrade it for 15 points. Titan with a mutation changes the dice value of their smash attacks to 3, and in addition your smashes have a range of 2 rather than 1. Pestilence Cloud, you can upgrade it for 15 points, subtract 1 from the result of all repair rolls made for any units within 7 inches. Yeah, that's really, really cool. Immaterial Shield's a really nice one as well. So it costs you 25 points, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made against a Titan while it's got its void shields. In addition, it gets a 5+ shield save against attacks that normally bypass void shields as well, as long as it's active. It has active void shields when it was attacked. So basically it lets you use your shields against those weapons that negate shields on a 5+. So really cool. Again, another baked in -1 to hit as well is a really nice thing to have as well. Aura of Fury. It costs you 15 points. During the strategy phase, if any unit within 12 inches of the Titan is issued an order other than charge, it has to make a command check. If the check is failed, increase the Titan's react level by 1 or by 2 if the check was failed by 3 or more. So basically, yeah, send it forwards and you'll send your enemy Titans into a frenzy and they'll have to come and charge you. Again, stick it on something like the Iconoclast that wants to be in combat as well and force those gun-wielding Titans to charge you. It's going to really ruin the day of your opponent. Gelidora costs 15 points. All Titans within 6 inches of 1 or more Titans with a mutation can vent plasma on a 3+ instead of a 4+. However, A Titan within 6 inches of this Titan repairs critical damage on a 6+. So yeah, pretty... could be worth taking, maybe. Malicious Cacophony. So this costs 20 points. Subtract 1 from the result of any command check made by a unit within 12 inches of this Titan. If a command check is made as part of issuing orders, subtract 2 from the result of the command check instead. And it's cumulative with the Etheric Conduit based mutation as well. So yeah, some really, really nice options there. I can see some people going to town converting up their Titans to represent these different things as well. Definitely gives you a lot more list building options for Traitor Legio as well, compared to a Loyalist. So then the book closes out with a bit of a glossary detailing all the various weapons that you can take, all the weapon abilities as well. Again, making it a really nice resource for having when you play your games to see what your weapons actually do, looking at what your enemy weapons do, and all the special rules as well, which again are a little bit kind of spread between books. Let's get all the universal kind of war gear, Traitor Titan specific upgrades, and we also get a load of stratagems as well. So again, making it a bit of a one-stop shop for all your games. I really like the fact that you can just sling this in your bag and have all of the things that you need for your games of Adeptus Titanicus. So that is the new Warmaster and the Traitor Legios book from Games Workshop for Adeptus Titanicus. That is, I guess, probably a majority of the releases for the game kind of out now. We've got the rules for each of the forces during the heresy, and we've got like all the Titans, unless they add some larger ones or some new variants that we haven't heard of. I do wonder what direction the Adeptus Titanicus game is going to go into next. Could we see the introduction of aircraft maybe, using the Aeronautica Imperialis models, or even infantry and vehicles, and bring us something akin to Epic 40k? Or maybe they go a different angle and move from the Horus Heresy into the current 40k universe, and could we see Orcs and Eldar and Tyrannid Bio-Titans? That'd be really cool. Either way, Adeptus Titanicus is in a really great place right now. Brilliant range of models. Arguably, it's a little bit hard to get into without that starter box. The new Adeptus Titanicus kind of core box, rule box is pretty good with the rule book. I think you get 2 Reavers, 2 Warhounds and some Knights. Obviously not quite enough for a full force, but that definitely gives you an entry point at a lower price cost. And yeah, both of these books out now, the Traitor one and the Loyalist one, means that you really don't need to carry around that library with you. You don't need all those supplements from game to game. You've got all the stratagems, all the Titans, and all the army construction rules within this single book, which is really, really cool. So like I said earlier, we have got a full write-up over on the website where I've got into what the various Legios do and some of the cool things they've got access to. I am going to be building up the Warmaster over the next week or two, so I'll be sharing some pictures of that over on our Twitter at Sprues and Brews as well. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this. Hopefully soon on the channel we'll get some games of Adeptus Titanicus as well. I really want to do a live stream and maybe play through some of the scenarios and some of the supplement books. So yeah, stay tuned to that. That's something I'd like to do in the future. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this, then why not throw us a subscribe? We have a podcast that goes out weekly. We've got the website spruesandbrews.com with loads of articles and reviews and all that kind of cool stuff. There is a load of pre-orders up for today, so if you check out the website, there's some more videos and articles coming out over the course of the weekend, so stay tuned to that. So thank you for watching, and hope we see you again real soon.